Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Uncouth Radio, we are here. We are in the house. It's been a minute. But of course, we said we had to come back and talk about some of these crazy things that are happening in the world. And before we get into the deepest subject, Roe versus Wade, because of course, that's what we probably gonna have to end this show with that. You know what I mean? But I want to talk about a couple of things that have gone viral in the last couple of days and get your take, Ron, get your take, Chan. Let's start with the McDonald's video. Let's start with that. There's a young man who's bringing McDonald's to his son, and he has three other siblings, and the mother is mad that he didn't bring McDonald's for all the siblings because he knows he has other brothers and sisters, and how would he be inconsiderate and not get food for all the kids? And then she commits to take the food from him, throw it on the ground. And he even said, okay, if that's how you feel, I get it. Send him down and I'll take him with me and we'll go eat and then I'll bring him back. And she said no to that. Let me get your take on it, Chandra.
I've been on this I'm gonna protect my energy, I'm not gonna let stupid things in my spirit. So a lot of things I don't see. I don't know. I was bored. I clicked on it. Of course, I got enraged. Um, I watched the whole thing too. I watched the whole thing, and I saw some people say, make comments "Oh, he could have cashed after for the kids. He could have this and that." You know what? He was taking care of his son. I think it was a son.
Yeah, his son.
If he wanted to do for other kids, fine. But she in no way should make him feel obligated. She made a couple of statements that were. Why you not on? I'm not doing this.
Yes.
Oh, she made a couple of statements that disturbed me. She said, "You knew who you."
She said you knew who you was dealing with.
Now, maybe with the insanity, maybe, but she related that to oh, you knew you were dealing with somebody with a bunch of kids. So
the thing is, you could tell. So this was whack to me. She premeditated acting a fool.
Yeah,
because she was recording before he even got there.
Well, because apparently, if he does it every other day, or she knows, but she was really about to expose him, she was Chris Hansen or something. Oh, this.
I'm gonna expose him. Expose him for what? Beating his child.
You're a good dad. You're a good dad, and I'm about to show you he is a good father to his son. Clearly, I mean, based on the interaction and the conversation, and even kind of the way he talked to her, he wasn't
he was not being disrespectful even when she started acting crazy.
Where are he asked some really valid questions. Where are your other kids? Where are their dads? Why do I don't keep track of your food stamp deposits? What are you doing? She didn't say this, but what are you doing for work where you can't take care of your kids, or you're not rationing out?
Because she was I don't get my food stamp to the 7th. That's my fault. Because she said it that was on him.
It was all really just embarrassing as another woman looking at this, because I felt again, anything that he wanted to do, fine. But her making it seem like he was obligated because that's his, siblings, his kids' siblings is what she was saying. And then somebody said, "Oh, he's a bad stepdad, but he's not a bad dad." I was like, what is wrong with these people?
That was what was more disappointing to me, was the people who were backing her play. He's got bad character because he won't buy all the kids food. And
if I was him, I would have taken that video right to Judge Mathis and been or whoever the name of his judge is, and be she can't take care of her kids. I could take care of mine. Let's see what we could do, because I'm not about to go back and forth about this. And she was. It was too much. It was entirely too much. I mean, I could even see it, and it's always about how you kind of come at somebody. But I feel it was just poor management on her part. You're saying your kids are not eating, or was she mad that the kids weren't eating, or was she mad that they were having McDonald's? He was having McDonald's and they weren't. I couldn't really.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think she really didn't. She clearly didn't have money. You know what I'm saying? She clearly didn't have money, and then she wanted the kids to get McDonald's because the brother's getting it.
So I think it's a difference between, well, a lot of women think that they're, I'm a single mother. No, you're single and you're a mother. So that man is not obligated to take care of you or your kids. If he's doing for his, fine. If he's doing for the other ones, that's extra. But I don't feel that the way she came at him, and then you wasted the food. Like, and then she threw away the food at the end. Like, dude, you are insane. Like, you are, and I might be using that word. I'm done. Y'all know my part on this.
Well, like you said though, Chandra, if he wanted to get the kids food, that's fine. Like, if he wanted to bring the other kids some food, that would be a bonus. But he doesn't have to. You know what I mean? Like, that's not his obligation. To every time he wants to bring his kids some food, he has to bring. Because, like he said, there's 3 other dads in this equation. Like, there's 3 other dads in this equation, and they still trying to blame him for only feeding his child, which is, like you said, it's insanity to me. Like, the fact that
am I being punished for being? I'm being punished because I'm the one that's being a good dad, or I'm not. You know what? Because again, I'm like you said, it was kind of both. Was it? He's providing lunch for him. He's bringing food every other day. Is it because the other kids aren't getting McDonald's? And yeah, she did say like, "Oh, I don't have food stamp. I'm gonna get my food stamp." So it did indicate that maybe she wasn't able to get them food or whatever.
It also sounded like she was just making her problems his problem.
Yeah. Well, it was too much. And I was disappointed at the people that were like, oh, he could have cashed out her money for the other kids. He could have done whatever he wanted to. That's that man's money. Stop being in people's pockets.
And that's what I said. I said on a couple of posts, I was like, y'all don't know that man budget. Like, first of all, the difference, anybody who got kids know, the difference between feeding 1 kid and 4 kids is huge. It's a huge difference between feeding a kid and 4. Now, maybe if it would have been 2 kids.
Well, that's what he said. He was like, but you got a whole bunch of other. He was like, if it was 1 man. He was like, you got 3, 4 other kids besides mine.
Hey, man, that's like feeding a starting basketball team.
Look,
like a little Pop Warner team.
It told me a lot about her. He said she's trying to expose him, but it exposed a lot about her.
Hey, Ranice, and exactly that's what I was saying. I was like, because if he does that, she's gonna expect him. Every time you buy clothes for your son, you got to buy clothes for the other ones. Every time you buy shoes for 1 kid, now he got to buy shoes for, like, it wasn't gonna stop there at the food.
No, she thought she was jamming too. She thought she was really exposing this bad dad. Like,
hey, that was wild to me how she was really like. I thought he was really about to do something terrible. The way she's like, I'm about to expose him.
Roll up here with some food for his son. Call CPS. Get CPS on the phone.
Man, what's your take on it, Ron?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, Robert. Let me hurry up before my damn mic cut off. But a couple things here. You can see there's kind of a clear lack of communication between the two, because if the mother had clearly communicated that she expected that, then the guy could have went to and got a pizza or something that he could share with the other children. But 2 things here. The gentleman just got to be aware of these signs like this. So this father seems he handled this real well. He seemed to be very calm after she, after all the things she did. So he now needs to start looking to obtain custody of his child. Unfortunately, you'd like your kids to grow up with their siblings, but in this scenario, you see the mother's going to be in a position to sort of have some sort of say over how you give things to your child. So it would be in my best interest to make sure that I have custody of my child, and then I'll just buy stuff for my child when they're at my house. He'll have his own room here at my house. He'll have his own video game system at my house. But it's really up to fathers at a certain point to sort of see these signs early and say, you know what, I got to stay as far away from that problem, or I have to manage it in a way where I'm not being put in a situation like this. Now, in my situation, you know what, I probably would have bought the kids, something to eat. But the reality is I don't expect anyone else to kind of do the things I do. And in this scenario, you could see she clearly expects the man, and what rubbed me the worst way is that she has a stay-at-home man. After you preface that with, hey, I got a man that's supposed to be a guy that stays at home, then all bets are off. I'm not obligated to do anything for you if you have a man. And am I correct in saying she does have a live-at-home man, correct?
I don't know. No, I think that's 2 different things. So you talking about
okay.
Yeah, you talking about
I'm mixing stories. Okay.
Yeah, you're mixing stories, yeah.
But yeah, even if she doesn't have a man at home,
She got 3 other baby daddies somewhere. We know that.
Right. which probably aren't around. I mean, you see the mother, and
that's the thing. This man shouldn't be penalized because the other 3 ain't already. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I see that happen often. Correct. The one who wants to raise his child gets penalized for the dudes who don't. You know what I mean? Like the one who wants to be around, he gets penalized. Like all the hell that she want to give to the other dudes that ain't around, she give it to the dude that's actually trying to be around. The dude that's actually trying to be with the kids. It's wild. Quincy, let me get your take real quick.
He only have an obligation of 1 child. That's his. If it's within his budget, it'd be nice if he did feed all the kids. But in the end, I don't know his financial situations. Whatever it was, he had enough to buy food for his son. That's his only responsibility and obligation. So, so if he bought his son something for his birthday, is he supposed to buy everybody else something on his son's birthday gift? Yeah. If he bought his son a Halloween costume, is he supposed to bring everybody a Halloween costume? Like, where does it stop at? Yeah, like that. But apparently, it upset me because she tried to make him look like a bad father, where he was actually doing what he was supposed to do, is bring food for his son. But I'm curious to know, how did he find out his son was hungry? Or is that, did he just pop up with food or whatever? Because obviously it was communicated to him somehow, some way, that his son needed some food.
Well, she said he came every other day. So I feel like
this is their routine.
Okay. Well, this is what we do. I come see my son every other day, give him food, McDonald's, take him to lunch.
And food.
That's, like I said, if it's within his budget, if he was smart, he could go to Little Caesars and get that $5 large pizza. But in the end, if he don't want to do that, and he want to spend that $5 on his son only, he has every right to.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what would a compromise be? Okay, if I'm feeding everybody, then you're gonna cook. I'm buying potatoes, ground beef, some bread, and everything else. Now you cook it for all of them. If that's the case, is that a compromise? I mean, outside of the fact she's being unrealistic, we get that. But is there a compromise
I almost feel like
involved with having children by a woman who has children?
Well, but I feel like even that feels a tad unrealistic just from the way she was even operating in this video. I don't feel like that's the type of person that you're gonna have this kind of rational breakdown.
She ain't gonna cook, is what you're saying. She's not gonna cook, then, right?
I mean, that's what I'm basically keep her saying. Food stamp shit together. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. Like,
that would be my compromise. It's like, hey, if you expect me to feed them all, then you're gonna cook for them all. I mean, period.
But even then, so this is the thing, right? I get what you're saying, but even then, you giving in to her entitlement of, you got to feed all my kids.
How is your child gonna feel about that though, Dan, when they grow up knowing that you gave them food? So, because I can see where the kid is now going to be treated different from its siblings. So, and these are all, obviously, we know she's unrealistic. So let's take that away. Let's now just deal with the fact that it's her father bringing food for a child and the other children aren't getting it. Let's deal with that part of it.
But I can't be responsible for.
We got your responsibility. That we got that.
Yeah, I can't be responsible.
I know responsibility, but how is that child going to grow up knowing that now? Is there going to be some conflict amongst their siblings? Hey, you grew up, your dad, because I've seen this. I know people who have, a good father and their other siblings didn't have that, and they don't even really mess with that kid. That's like their brother, but there's a separation there. So is that something else that can be touched on outside of her irrational behavior?
Because she's gonna have to fix that, because that's within her household. I don't know how she would fix it, but she would have to make sure that the relationship amongst her kids are still tight, regardless who their fathers are. But I don't think that's on him, though.
No, yeah, I'm not putting it on him.
Some of the comments I'm seeing are kind of crossing the line with like her being his man and him doing for his kid. Like, oh, I will make sure all the kids have something if I'm coming over. Oh, I'm doing for one kid, I'm doing for all of them. I mean, that's like if they were together. He's with him all the time. So if let's just say Would it be different if instead of him bringing his son food every day, because they didn't seem like they were at home. Maybe they were like at her job or something. It didn't seem like they were at a house. Maybe they were like at, she does hair and she's at a shop. I don't know. It just seemed like they were like in a business. So if he comes and takes his son to lunch every day or every other day, what would have been different? I'm gonna come take my son to lunch every other day. Y'all here. It's gonna be me and my son. That's our time. I'm gonna come take him to lunch instead of bringing him the food. What would have been different?
Yeah, that probably would have been my negotiation. Yeah, and the kids are gonna still feel it because you're being taken away.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
in my situation, I'm just gonna speak for me.
How does that rest on him though?
Because it doesn't at all.
How does that rest on him? Yeah.
Not at all. No. I just say, like, if I have a child with a woman, she has other children. Okay. If I take them to if I take my son to Magic Mountain, I'm probably going to take the siblings with her. That's just me. And it's not that the mother has to ask me. I don't feel obligated. I just, as being a single kid that grew up, I've probably developed more of a non-selfish manner because I wanted to have brothers. I wanted to have more siblings. So I wanted more people around. But maybe it's different. If you grow up with more siblings, I don't know why I feel that way, but I just feel like, you really shouldn't separate children. Just my personal taste. It has nothing to do with these two people specifically.
No, I feel the same way. If it was me, if I was to go visit Kennedy, her mom got three other kids. If all her kids there, and I was bringing Kennedy some food, I would call and but I could. That'll probably be within my budget. But if I'm just hanging on and I'm making minimum wage and it's solely to take care of my kid and I'm staying with moms right now, blah, 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 I can't pull that off.
But you're also not obligated to, and you're doing that because it's something you want to. It's not selfish if you don't.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not on you to keep the kids to get this. Not, you know what I mean? If you choose, and I get that. I mean, I probably would too. I'm from a big family. Everybody eats. You come over. I mean, that's just how we are. But again, you never know. This is a young guy. Who knows what his situation was? But to make it seem like it's on him because her kids aren't having is not okay either.
Yeah, and I agree with what Sam's saying. I mean, there is a huge difference in that. But I think what we all agree on is that it's just her approach. She could pull him to the side and say, hey, look, the kids are getting a little antsy every time you bring Junior a burger or something. Saying, would it be okay if, maybe when I get my food stamps, I slide you a little extra money or you give me a little less money and we kind of work it out to even, again, lack of communication. It's all about
I agree with that as well. Or can we do once a week? Maybe we'll bring the kids to McDonald's, whatever. I get it. That's because it just seemed like she was at a 25. Like Dame said, she came in already like, oh, we about to Chris Hansen this food.
I thought there was some old petty. You're right. I thought it was Chris Hansen. I really thought he was about to do something and beat the child on camera.
Hey, the way she said it, I was like,
one bag.
Yeah, the way she said, I'm like, what'd he do? He come up here with one bag of McDonald's. I was like, what?
He poisoned it? What's Anyway, can we move on? Because I'm getting hot.
Yeah, so there's a video that has been going around all day today saying every parent needs to see this. And it was basically a young lady talking about, the way some parents can make their children feel in regards to the conversations they had, in regards to feeling like they are getting belittled. And I think the young lady made some valid points, but me as a parent in real life, some of that shit ain't practical. And I want to talk about that, right? Because she said something like, when your parents tell you y'all not on the same level, that make me feel like you devaluing me. Like, we ain't on the fucking same level. Not.
Well, I think what you just said made her point. Like, it's all about communication and the way you express it. Because one thing she said was, we feel like our parents don't listen to us. I feel like when you say, I'm not on your level, that you're devaluing me. That's how she feels. So we can't invalidate that. What we can explain to them is, well, when we're talking about levels, we're talking about maturity. We're talking about education. I'm not devaluing who you are as a person. I think what came across to me the most in her video, whatever adult she's communicating with, was very, very clear. It made me feel like at least she's used to an adult listening to her and making her feel like look, you have to say it like this because adults don't accept it like that. And working with middle schoolers, I get that a lot. They'll say certain things, and I know that this is not what they mean. And I tell them, look, I know this is what you mean, but you need to. Some people are not going to receive it like this, so you have to learn how to speak and articulate yourself in a certain way. So for me, in that instance, I would say, well, let me not invalidate how you feel, because a lot of the things she said were really interesting, like saying, your life was, making her feel like your life was better before me, or make it just a lot of the things you wouldn't think about when you don't talk to kids. This is how they feel. We don't think about that as an adult because either we weren't made to feel like that, or we really didn't talk to our parents like that, or our parents didn't give us a chance to have that kind of conversation. But I think it's important to put them in their place. Like, look, not put them in their place like that, but to say, well, when I'm saying not on your level, I'm meaning this is what I'm meaning. I'm not meaning to put you down or make you feel like, because look, I got 25 years on you. So even on your smartest day, you still not going to be as smart as me. Actually, that's what I tell my students. You might be smart as me, and you might be smarter than what I was at 13, but you'll never be smarter than me today, because I got 20 years on you. But I think it's very important for us to communicate with these kids, because she also said some things like, maybe I feel like it's better if I'm not here. We know that our suicide rate is going up. We know that our kids don't talk to us. They use social media. They use all these other outlets. So I do think we need to find another way to communicate with them and exactly have mutual respect and make sure that they understand, like, no, you are a child. Because to be honest, as a 42-year-old, and I actually found out I'm turning 43 this year. Who knew? I thought I still was, I don't know where I thought I was. But now the relationship I have with my parents now is that, like, friendship. And I think that that's where but it's still, they're my parents, but it's still that mutual, like, we can be adults together.
But that was kind of the interesting thing
at 13. We're not adults at 13.
Right.
So that's what they need to get communicated. But I think it's okay to talk to them about that and not make it seem like, well, you know what I mean? Anytime somebody, I'm gonna give you guys a clue, and I'm not gonna say nothing else after this. Anytime somebody tells you, I feel, you need to make sure that you're listening to what they feel. Because even if you don't agree, you cannot devalue the way that they feel. You can communicate your intentions or how you feel, vice versa, but don't go at it like, well, da-da-da-da-da-da. And I think that that's the problem what people do with a lot of teenagers. Well, we feel this, we feel that. Well, you're a kid, you're da-da-da-da. No. We can never devalue how somebody feels, even if it may be completely weird and wrong.
Well, what I thought was interesting is like Angela said earlier, she said my mom is a good listener. She said my mom does all the healthy things, and she still feels like devalued. You know what I'm saying? Like, she said her mom does all the things we're talking about that you're supposed to do, and she still feels like my mom think I'm not on her level. You know what I mean? So that's the part where
because she's probably said things like, you know how people say things either when they're angry or when, for her, she did say a couple of those things like, oh, my life was like this before you, or like, how you can't, there's certain things you cannot say to kids. Like, okay, yes, maybe your life was popping before I was born, but you don't want to, you know what I mean? The kid is going to take that a completely different way. But that was also very interesting. I saw a very conflicting, but I also feel like she was getting it from different places too. She was saying, oh, then I'm introduced to this out here. My mom, it seemed like she could talk to her mom about certain things, but she was also hearing and being exposed. Okay, yeah, she said her friend's parents said that. Okay, so that makes sense. But people, sometimes you might slip and say something that you ain't supposed to say in front of your kid or tell them whatever. Gotta watch that too.
Well, yeah, I mean, just disclaimer, of course, I think it's terrible to tell your child they're a burden and my life was much better before. I don't think I think that's fucking bad parenting.
That's so horrible. I think Angela said, she said her friend's parents said that. I listened to it just before we came on. So
yeah, but it sounds like her parents listen to her. Her parents give her the grab. Like for me, even with my kids, I don't do I'm right just because I'm adult. If I'm wrong, I tell my kids, oh, you know what, I made a mistake, and I will apologize, because I want them to understand that I do respect them as people. I respect them as humans, because so many oftentimes kids don't feel the value of themselves because parents will hit you with the "because I told you so," not explain nothing, and You know what I'm saying? But so I do try to change that. But then there's also a fine balance. There's also a fine balance between being that parent and then wondering why your kid don't really fear shit you say because they feel like you friends. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a really fine balance to where it's like, I think we had a healthy fear of our parents. I think a lot of these kids don't really like, they be saying wild shit to us that I'm like, yo, I really would have got knocked through a wall. But because I won't knock my children through a wall at all, they don't have a fear of being knocked through a wall. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have that fear of discipline the way we did. And I think that's some of it too. Like, I think some of it is like we are in a generation where so many parents want to be their child's friends. And then those lines get blurred. And then when you want to go back into parent mode, you know what I'm saying? It's like the kid is like, no, but we homies. Like I could talk to you like this because this is how we play around. This is how we get down. So even when it's something serious, you know what I'm saying? Jesus. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think there's that thing too that you gotta like be careful of making those boundaries so your kids do, because look, at the end of the day, as much as our kids are much more intelligent than we were at that age, like you said, like I talked to my daughter and I'm like, I know I wasn't this sharp at 10. You know what I mean? Like, so as much as I know that she's sharper than I was at 10, I also know she's still a 10-year-old. You know what I mean? And I also know that there's still things that I need to guide her in. There's still things that as much as she knows and as much as she thinks she knows, I know how much she doesn't know. And I think that's one of the things like that people need to understand, because yes, as much as the girl was making some good points from a child's perspective, she's a child. And there's things she doesn't know about this other side of life. So when we do say and do say certain things, a lot of it is we try to prepare you for a world that ain't gonna care about you and give you this gravitas to talk to us in this manner outside of this household. You know what I mean? Like I had a homegirl and she was buying her daughter something. And then she was like, oh, I feel bad. I got to go back and buy my son something. I said, why? She said, because I'm buying my daughter something. I was like, do you do that every single time you buy one of them something? You got to buy the other one something? She said, yeah. I said, you need to stop doing that shit. I said, because real life don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? And then I said, at some point, it's going to be your daughter's birthday, and you're going to buy stuff for your daughter, and your son is going to come put his hand in the cake because he's pissed. Because that's the way you set things up to be. You set things up to be, if she gets something, I guess, every single time. And I said, it shouldn't be like that. And also, you need to cultivate, and I'm sure you can speak to this, Quincy, you need to cultivate separate relationships and separate things with the children and things that you do. Like, yo, me and Tweet, we go to the comic book store. We get this is our thing. So if I'm getting a comic book for Tweet, I don't have to get a comic book for Emery because that's not Emery thing. But me and Emery will probably go to the Disney store, And if I go, that don't mean I have to get something for Tweet. And they also need to understand just like life don't work like that. But it's like, that's what I mean. It's things like that I feel like kids don't see it from that side. And those are the things we have to continue to guide them on. And because kids are much more intelligent, they really do sometimes feel like they know more than us. They know more than us about parenting. And they know more, know more than us about how children should be spoken to. So that's my take on it. Quincy, you got anything on the subject? And Ronice, I'm sorry about, what your mom said to you. That's horrible. I'm sorry.
Not really, because I didn't cover it all. Plus, I didn't see the video, but it made me think about one time Simone was talking to my grandmother. I forgot what they were talking about. And Simone said, well, I feel, and you got it. That's like what, 2-3 generations. And my grandmother's like, I don't give a damn about no 10-year-old opinion. Hey, you should have saw Simone's face and her feelings was hurt and whatever. And I just kind of had to explain to her, the difference in generations. Like that generation, our
children didn't have an opinion.
Your opinion do not exist till you about 30.
Yeah.
So it's that dynamic. But yeah, I try to be a good listener because these kids they got a lot of influences on how they feel and think because of the internet. We didn't have that. So they got all these opinions and theories and things like that. And so I try to hear them out. And I even told them, I said, look, you can disagree with me, but don't ever think you could talk to me any type of way either. You don't have to agree with my opinion, but once it goes past, like, you think you could talk to me like I'm one of your friends, then we're gonna have a problem. And I was explaining to them, like, we couldn't even disagree.
Right.
But like Chandra said, like, this, as smart as they are, they also like real mentally and emotionally fragile than we were. And so you gotta be afraid. You gotta kind of be afraid what tone you use, because they'd take anything, be like, oh, I shouldn't be here no more.
Yeah.
You like, damn. The only thing I say is you couldn't do that on Thursday. It's okay Friday. Right. Nobody said you can't exist.
You're right, bro. You're right.
So and so you have all these, these weirdos on the internet and social media. Like, if your parents say this, they don't love you, and it's all type of crazy stuff out there. So you definitely got to stay in tune, communicating. Like Dame said, if you got more than one kid, you got to know that you can't. Like, one thing I always told my grandmother. Yes, I say, one thing I learned from their generation that I think their generation made the mistake on, and trust me, that me telling her that her generation made a mistake, that was a whole nother.
I'm surprised you here.
Yeah, but when she heard me out, she was like, "You're right." I said, "Y'all treated every kid the same, no matter how many kids y'all had. Y'all communicated with every kid the same." I said, "I learned from my mom that ass whoopers don't work with everybody. Like myself, my sister Jasmine, David, we didn't like get hit. Tiffany will take an ass whooping in a minute, as long as she get whatever toys you want.
Right.
The rest of us, I was like, you can have this Nintendo, take this Genesis, take all this. Don't hit me." And and I was explaining to my grandmother how, like, just like with discipline, you can't discipline every kid the same, because not they don't work on every kid. Some of y'all was just making hard ass kids. They taking ass whoopings now. They get out there, they fight. That ain't nothing to them. Because and so it just being able to understand your child, being able to communicate, but definitely don't ignore these kids, because one thing, they got 100,000 other influences. If you don't talk to them, they'll rely on somebody else, and trust me, that's a little dangerous in today's world.
No, you're right, because like, we didn't have social media, and we didn't have 1,000 people giving us different opinions on our parents who don't even know us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got people who don't know your opinion. Your mama don't care about you. Your daddy don't care about you if this and that. Like, I've seen it. It's like, yo, it's something different that you have to contend with. And and me and you talk about this before, Quincy, just like with coaching. You got to find what works for each kid, because like, some kids, you got to yell at them. Some kids, you got to yell for them to be good on the court. And some kids, you really just got to encourage them for them to be good. If you yell at the kid who needs to be encouraged, they're going to break down, and you're not going to get nothing out of them. If you talk nice to the kid that needs to be yelled at, he ain't going to give you what you need. He ain't going to give you that intensity. And I think it's the same when you're talking about your kids, right? Like, it really is not a one size fits all thing. And I think our generation just learned that. And I tell people all the time, because I was like, a lot of times we have the benefit of hindsight that the generations before us didn't have, right? Like, we have the benefit of hindsight of seeing what kind of worked, what didn't work. And also the change in discipline, and the change in, the way we get to discipline our kids, because a lot of times all you knew, if you from Mississippi, all you knew was ass whoopings. So that means everybody who migrated from Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas to California, all you knew was ass whoopings, because that's what it was down south. You know what I mean? So now we're getting into a different place where it's like you said, you got these kids who are a little more intellectual, and it was different from me, because I was raised by my mom and dad with 3 boys, but now I'm raising girls, and you cannot raise girls the way you raise boys. But all I knew was how I was raised. So if I yell at my daughter like the way my dad yelled at me, it didn't affect me. I just be like, oh, Pop's tripping. My daughter will crumble if I yell at her. Like, I'm talking hysterical, crying. Like you would have thought I did something to like physical to her. Like just like I'm talking, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, this is different. You know, you gotta do this different. So
you can kind of tell like that was the issue Joe Jackson made. He was beating everybody ass, but not everybody needed ass whooping. Some was already talented. They just needed a little encouragement because you could tell it was a few who was gifted, just more gifted than others. Joe just whooping everybody ass. You can't whoop everybody ass because you actually got one who is just naturally talented. So his learning curve, his attention span is going to be different when it comes to learning music because it clicks with him. He's a natural. You might have to beat Tito ass because Tito ain't the Tito bad.
Right.
Tito don't want to do it. But you know, Tito is his theme is not singing and dancing. It's playing the guitar.
Right.
So you got to tune into that, you know. And I remember when Captain Jackson was telling the story when Tito had broke Joe's guitar. And this is how Joe found out Tito could play the guitar. And he asked him, because Tito was terrified, she said that when Joe got home, he just knew Joe was going to kill him. And found out that Joe said, well, what the hell you doing with my guitar anyway? And he was playing it. So Joe was like, he fixed it and he made Tito play. And that's how he discovered Tito was able to play the guitar. But already in ass whooping mode, not trying to even discover why Tito had the guitar or was fascinated playing. And Captain had to tell him, like, look, you got to listen to him play the guitar. He actually know how to play. And it just goes to the difference in generations.
I want to address this comment from our niece too, real quick. She said, "Kids need to know that it's okay to have feelings, and home is a safe space to express them. The term 'because I said so' can cause your kid to not come to you at all." And I agree with that. I do agree with that. It's a very fine line, very fine line, because you do want your kids to talk to you. You want your kids to be expressive with you, and because like I have to tell like some of my friends who are dads to girls when they like, oh, my little daughter talking about a little boy she got a crush on and
nigga
going crazy. Yeah, I'm like,
so.
Like, you can't do that. You cannot do that. You can't do that if she say she got a crush on a boy. You can't be talking about, you can't, I say, because now she ain't never gonna talk to you about a boy again. Like, you know what I mean? And that's where the problem comes.
Hey, let me tell you, boy. Those conversations, look, I tell you, it was hard listening to some of them conversations, but now seeing how comfortable Simone is coming to me to talk about boys, I'm so happy that I handled it the way I did when she first originally came and talked to me about boys. Because trust me, she comes and talk to me about things that girls don't normally feel comfortable talking to their fathers
about. Yeah.
And I'm so glad that she comes to me. Just last week when I was giving her driver's lesson, she was just start sharing stuff, and trust me, it's she at a top level comfort zone, and it started. I'll share this part. It started when she was about 15, and she called me and she said, "Dad, do you know what head is?" And I was about to fucking faint. and
wait a minute. I want to interject because I think being that I was there and I heard what he said, but I saw how he reacted.
Because we was on the phone.
I gotta give Major because when he told me what he said, but I heard what you said. Like, oh, it's
because I was on the phone, so she can see my reaction. All she got is that my dad on the other side of the phone, calm as hell.
Dad was rolling on the ground talking to her, like
I was about to fight. I collapsed, but
the conversation.
But if I had went off immediately, this is what I would have missed. I stayed calm. I said, yes, I do. Like, so yeah, I do know what that is. She said, so I said, why? She said, cause this boy I was talking to, my former friend, gave him head, and he told me I'm not mature like her because she gave him head. Now, I was able to go into how boys are manipulative, how he was trying to use the mind game, blah blah blah, and she got it. But think about when she originally called and asked me that question, and I responded like, "What the blah blah blah." Yeah. She would have missed that whole game of manipulation, boy. She would have shut me down, and then she probably would have been been even more manipulated of what this boy was trying to do, because you know she wasn't she was asking me like, you know, do you know what it is, blah blah blah. And but now to see that it went from there to where we are now, to where like we talk about there's nothing we don't talk about, and I always tell her, I say, well, you know what, make sure you go talk to your mom, because I want you to get both perspectives. I want you to get my perspective, the male perspective, and the female perspective. That way, you know, you can have both of those tools in your tool bag. But definitely, fellas, trust me, it's not easy. But I'll tell you, you were truly appreciated, because once you open up that door and you're able to educate them, and it would be hard. Like Simone cutoff game is tight. Should cut their ass off quick, and I appreciate that. and that's how you want your girls to be. You don't want them, oh, my dad just gonna go off, you know, and then next thing you know, she letting some boy around her age.
Let's just keep it a buck. Let's just keep it a buck. Almost all the girls that we knew as kids and teenagers that we dealt with as young men was the girls whose daddies was super strict, super off the chain, super didn't want them to do. Them was the ones who was sneaking out and was super buck wild.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Them St. Burning girls.
Bruh. You know what I'm saying?
Them St. Burning girls.
Hey, I want to
St. Mary's.
Hey, all the saints, all of them, the saints.
Hey, anything with Saint in front of it, they was wild.
Yeah. I want to address what Hayne Ford said. He said, you know, talking about his son TJ, he says TJ 6'3", 315. He said, I ain't fighting this nigga. He said, I used to yell at him. He said, but all he would do, he said, I would yell at him and he would just shut down. You know what I mean? And so I want to address that too. And Mr. Ford, that goes back to the point of us saying, like, you got to figure out what works, you know, with each kid, because, you know, like I seen your son TJ, a big boy. TJ, a big boy. He's gonna be a big football recruit. We see all the colleges getting at him already and stuff. So TJ, that's a man child. But the funny thing is, a lot of times, like man child, because my brother Damon was like this. Out of me and all my brothers, he was the most sensitive one. He probably got the least amount of whippings out of all of us.
Well, I'll tell you this. I remember, I forgot what Shaq did, but boy, when Lucille went down there to that court, he was like, you could see the fear. like she would still walk onto the basketball court and whoop his ass. like that fear. Now, trust me, I remember the game with LeBron was telling his mom to sit her ass down. Shaq wasn't saying that to Lucille.
No, sir. No, sir.
No. And we all know how big, but it's just a level of respect that you instill before they get that size, and they won't even think to even fight you, because they still have that level of respect that they won't even. I mean, it's crazy. I was talking about, like, my mom, my aunt, my uncle, they still didn't cuss in front of my grandmother.
Yeah.
They didn't curse in front of my grandmother. You see kids cussing in front of their parents. My mom and them still didn't cuss in front of my. It was like my grandmother would still whip their ass.
Well, shit, even
if they cuss in front of.
Like I wouldn't really curse in front of my mom unless I'm telling her a story.
Yeah,
like,
I'm the same way.
We playing something, or we having a moment about certain things, but just to talk regularly and be cussing in front of her, no.
Yeah. That's why I hate when she watched the show, because she called me. I don't even reply to the text.
My dad, that's a different story, because now we like, that's my dude. You know what I'm saying? So we talk like dudes. You know what I'm saying? That's different. That's different. But I'm glad we had this conversation though, because I do want people to understand that, you have to value, we do have to value our kids' feelings, as you said, Chan. We have to value their feelings, even if we don't agree, we disagree, or if we think they just 100% off the wall, we have to value, just to validate them, talk to them about them, and help them understand our side. And we can leave it there. And now let's get on, this country going backwards. Before we start this conversation too, I just want to say, Black women, don't y'all be holding this L for these white women. Don't y'all hold this Roe versus Wade L. Black women, don't y'all go out there caping for these. No. I was looking on Louise's page today. She said, listen, we've been oppressed this whole time, so we gonna be all right. Like, Black women gonna be all right. She's like, but this ain't on us. You know what I'm saying? Latanya said, can y'all help me with my 3-year-old because she thinks she's 17? That same thing with Captain Emery.
Oh yeah. Captain M, boy.
These kids something else, man. Ron had to bounce, but we thank you for joining us, Ron. Listen, I'm sitting my ass right here. This day fight. Listen, and look, and the crazy thing is, all of them all up in arms. I'm like, first of all, 53% of y'all voted for Trump, so I know some of y'all lying. I know some of y'all had a part in this. 53%, that means 1 out of 2. 1 out of every 2 white women voted for Donald Trump. What that tell you? So now y'all about to hold this L. I find it interesting.
Not once.
Twice.
Not once.
Twice. I find it kind of interesting that because y'all finally getting treated like niggas, shit is a problem. Like Ron had posted in one of our groups, even the white women were saying, "Oh, this country is oppressing us. I think we should kneel for the anthem." Oh, now you want to kneel for the anthem? Now you want to kneel for the anthem? Come on, man. Too. No. But I just want to get y'all take on, because look, there's not many times I could feel like I was Nostradamus, but this is one of them. Because I want to say back in 2014, me, Quincy, and Chandra was on Uncouth, the original version, when everybody
was holding about the cell phone.
Yeah.
When you was holding the cell phone,
and everybody was talking about Hillary and her emails, and everybody's talking that lesser of two evils, and it's the same thing. And listen, I want to say this. We said back then, even if you don't fuck with Hillary, understand it's bigger than her on this ballot. We said if you don't fuck with Hillary, there's some lifetime appointments on the Supreme Court coming up, and it's going to affect us. I remember some of the things that were said to us. One, it's not going to affect me. Remember that? It's not going to affect me. I just can't see myself voting for her. And that's fine. That's cool. But now we are seeing the remnants of, because people think this ain't 2022. No. What's happening now is because of 2016. All right. What's happening now is because of 2016, because we tried to tell people how important the election was, because you got to know what judges are getting up there in age, who might not make it through the next term. And I also blame Ruth Bader Ginsburg ass, because Obama, before he left office, was like, yo, retire so I can appoint someone, another white woman fucking up, retire so I can appoint someone.
Ruth dropped the ball. Oh, she dropped the ball.
Retire so I can appoint someone to your seat, because then we would still have the majority. Now, did the Dems fuck up in that Hillary campaign? Absolutely. Did Hillary fuck up? Absolutely. But a lot of it was the misinformation that we saw people run with this election, that we saw people run with last election. Now you're trying to blame Biden for something that happened in 2016.
They're trying to blame Obama. They're trying to blame everybody. Look, the first red flag, even if you don't listen to Hillary, you don't listen to nothing. The first red flag where everybody, the hair on the back of their neck should have jumped, is when for 422 days, they didn't allow Obama to appoint a Supreme Court. That should have been the first sign that something is up. That you need to get your ass out there and vote. Black people got it because I think, what was it, 90? What was it? Was it 92%? 94%?
Yeah, so this ain't on us at all.
Voted 92%. For Hillary and Biden?
Yep.
92%, 94% of black women, and then I think black men was Hillary. I think black men was 90%, and then it went a little lower than Biden. It was like 82, but still that's high as fuck. The signs was there. People just ignored it. And you know, you could say it till you blew it in the face. Because I was telling people, I was like, look, if you don't like Hillary, she could be gone in 4 years. But if you don't like a Supreme Court, you gotta wait till that motherfucker to die. If you like Hillary, okay, you voted again. She come back 8. That's it. That's all she getting. 8. If you don't like that Supreme Court, you gotta wait for that motherfucker to die. And if you look at the people that Trump appointed, appointed
definitely
51,
younger. Yep.
49, 48. These motherfuckers are not dying. Racism builds your immune system. These motherfuckers are not dying no time soon.
Nope.
And this is what we are dealing with. And you know, we talked about the state elections. We preached about that. Now y'all seeing the difference in how states are moving. Dude, you can't go to sleep on them state elections because now I'm going to the shade room. Guess who governor everybody want?
California.
Californians. You know, and I told people, I said, oh, you gotta wait till you see our Senate. Our Senate backs up our governor. Our House Assembly backs up our governor. So that's why California is moving. Other places where people will sleep at, you know, kind of paying a price now. And it's unfortunate because Republicans, look, one thing, they tell you what the fuck they gonna do. They've been said, they don't sugarcoat it. They said Roe v. Wade, we going all that. Already, Mitch McConnell had already said if the Republicans take the Senate, they holding Biden's Supreme Court appointees or judges if something come up. So he already said we're gonna do the same thing again. Already, they tell you what they were gonna do. But the most scariest thing to me about Roe v. Wade is the precedent that they use to overturn it, and that's the part I want Black people to read, because the precedent that they use is that abortion is not protected under the original Constitution. That's it. Y'all know what else is not protected under the original Constitution?
Black voting rights.
The Civil Rights Act.
Civil Rights Act.
I mean, we go down a whole list of what's not protected under that now original Constitution. So if that's the precedent that they use, and I said, watch, they're going to go after Brown versus Board of Education. The very next day, you had a senator from Texas talk about Brown versus Board of Education. They going to come after same-sex marriages. They come after all that shit. So what I tell people, listen, don't fall asleep on these elections. It's so important that you vote every single election, because we're closer to what you want than what people think. And what I mean by that is this. Obama, and I have to explain this to somebody today. Obama had like 15 Joe Manchins. Like I don't think people really realize the fucking Democrats he was up against. He had people that made Joe Manchin like Bernie Sanders. Now we only down to like 2, 3, or 4. So that means what has happened is over time it has gotten more progressive. The issue is people don't even know that. So you can't even be strategic about it because you don't really know it. Because there's no way Herschel Walker should be running neck and neck against Warnock.
Right.
There's absolutely no excuse for that.
Well, so that means also then we got to talk about too the failures of the Democratic Party, right? Because I think that's another reason why we are where we are. Because I agree, there's no way he should be running neck and neck. But what we hear is Democratic Party don't be putting money behind the black candidates like they supposed to. They don't go after, putting money into those races that we actually could win. Because we talked about this before. The last,
I agree with that. Like, look, putting millions of dollars. Look, I want to see Mitch McConnell lose, but you're not gonna beat Mitch McConnell in Kentucky. So I just thought that was a waste of money to put money behind that candidate that was running.
Exactly, but then on the other hand, you have people like Gary Chambers who they not putting money behind. You have the other dude who could have beat Lady L. What's his name? The other black dude who was running, he's now over the Democratic Convention.
Harrison. Why I feel like his last name is Harris. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but he said they didn't put money behind him. You know what I mean? So like, don't put a bunch of money into races against Mitch McConnell. But progressive, like, because they don't want to get behind black or progressive candidates the way they want to get behind moderates, and that's the other problem. Being moderate, you might as well be a Republican right now. Being moderate is not going to get nothing done because, one thing I've been listening to AOC the last few days, and AOC been right. She like, look, the Republicans is doing things by any means necessary. And what happened after Roe versus Wade happened? What did Democrats do? These niggas went on the steps and sang. 5 congressmen posted we need to do yoga right now. Like, bro, that shit is crazy.
But the person who I think for some reason he's not mentioned at all. Cause some things Sean King I agree with, and there's something I disagree with. Like he's got Biden is spending the court, Biden is, and I agree. But dude, your senator is Chuck Schumer. He's the Senate majority. He's the equivalent to Mitch McConnell. In the end, Trump knocked a home run, but guess who put the ball on the tee for Trump? Mitch McConnell. And it's like Mitch McConnell is the Senate majority, and don't nobody even fucking know it. I mean, Chuck Schumer. is the Senate majority, and don't nobody even fucking know it. He's the one that can actually do something about the filibuster, put pressure on people. He's the one that can actually talk about expanding the court. Because tell you the truth, that's the only way you're gonna fix this shit. We at that point now. That's
what I'm saying. But again, and I think that goes to bad leadership, right? Because you're right. He's supposed to be like they supposed to be applying that pressure. But in even worse, right after that happens, if you even thought you would have any leverage, Joe Biden comes out the next day and say, "Yo, no, I'm not with into the filibuster still. I'm not with expanding the court." So it's like literally you gut any kind of pressure they could start to try to build from within, because you come out the next day and say you came out and say it, you send your press secretary to come out and say, "Oh yeah, no, he's not with the end of the filibuster. He's not with expanding the court."
Well, that's when, because there were several times where Trump said shit and Mitch McConnell was like, "No, this is what we're gonna do."
Yeah,
and in the end, because Mitch McConnell runs the Senate, they end up doing what Mitch McConnell wanted to do. Like, tell you the truth, this shit is his master plan. Yeah. Like everything is like this is their master plan. And so people can't be my issue. The Democratic Party right now, the only person that is willing to step on toes is AOC. Even Gavin Newsom called a few people out. But it's like people are afraid to speak to step on toes. And as far as Biden for some reason is in denial that this is not the Congress, this is not the country from the 70s and 80s, 90s, not even early 2000s. The decorum, the tradition, that shit is dead. Every 60, 80 years, this country changes. We're there now. And what he has to realize is that the decorum and traditions and all that shit that worked before is not going to work now. And what people can't be afraid to say is, if you're not up for what we need, then you can be primary.
Absolutely.
And because it's going to take, these motherfuckers are doing extreme stuff. So it's going to take extreme measures to match it.
Yeah, like but Biden keep coming out talking this healing the soul of the country bullshit. Like, bro, that shit is over. It's over for that shit. You need to start doing something. And then that shit is so frustrating when, like, you know, Roe versus Wade turned, he come and do a speech talking about we need to heal the divide. And it's and another fucking thing, just so people understand, if 53% of white women voted for Trump, that also means a lot of these women that y'all think are liberals ain't fucking liberals. A lot of these women that you think are, you know, your white liberal allies, they're not. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know, don't assume, like I said, because people are like, you know, why didn't Obama had the majority? Obama had the majority 70 days, 72 days, or some super majority 72 days. But like I said, Obama had like 15 to 20 Joe Manchins. They were pro-life. Don't assume because somebody is Democrat, they not pro-life. You got motherfuckers who are Catholic, because there's a lot of Catholic people who are pro-life that are Democrat. So don't assume so that's why I say you got to see who's running against who. A lot of people been primary. Don't assume because somebody is a Democrat and they have always been in the seat, like somebody like Dianne Feinstein here, who folks just constantly just vote, and don't even fucking pay attention to her opponent, who actually might be what we want, because Dianne Feinstein ain't for getting rid of the filibuster either.
Right.
So you got to really pay attention to not what they say, but pay attention to how they vote, because motherfuckers say whatever they want to say. They go on MSNBC, CNN, whatever. But when it's time to vote against that filibuster, because guess who voted for voting rights? Sinema and Manchin. But guess who voted against the filibuster that get the voting rights passed?
Sinema
and Manchin.
Right.
But they are accurate when they say they voted for voting rights. That is
right.
true. They did vote for voting rights. But did they vote
for the thing to get it through?
Exactly. And that's the shit you got to pay attention. Who's willing? That's why I voted for Padilla for Senate, because he's actually for getting rid of the filibuster.
Yeah.
And we need to appoint more people who, like, because look, at this point, you can't be worried about, well, if the Republicans take over and there's no filibuster. Look, if motherfuckers know that there's no filibuster and they still allow Republicans to take over, then you're gonna get what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't coddle people and protect people from people. If people still, if the filibuster was to be removed and people are still wanting to let them motherfuckers get in office knowing there's no filibuster, then shit, it's what it is at that point.
Well, this is the problem too, though. So this is the problem that they're gonna face in the midterms, right? Roe versus Wade got overturned while you had all three branches of government. Voter rights wasn't passed while you had all three branches of government. Student loans weren't canceled while you had all three branches of government. And then what you're gonna say is, well, if you want these things, now you got to vote again. I think that's gonna be a huge failure on the Democrat side. Now, if they were smart, they would take this Roe v. Wade thing and make it their prime tentpole to run on, because supposedly, I think, Chandra, can you correct me if I'm wrong? Supposedly 70% of the country actually is pro-choice.
Mm-hmm.
Something like
it's a pretty high percentage. And I think the important thing about it is, what I think people kind of don't understand is it wasn't a law. It was basically a Supreme Court ruling that was like, Anything else that comes, like Quincy mentioned, it being a precedent. Anything else like this, we have this to compare it to. So these are what the rights are. But with the correct Senate and House, they can make a law. Like in England, there's a law. And so you all know, hopefully everybody knows with basic civics, once you get a law, it's a law of the land. That's it. So the thing about the Constitution, and I've been talking about this because I've been studying it a little bit more. It's a good document. It's the basis for, a good democratic republic, if you understand what I'm saying. But people in power taking advantage of it, the greed, all that is what is getting it spiraled. Now, all the amendments and the things that they have, some of those things that have given provisions, voting rights, that was an act. That's a law. Civil Rights Act, law. That's why certain things the president can't do anything about if it's not contained within those laws. Roe versus Wade, he can't do anything about that. That's not a law. That's why he's telling Congress, write a law. Same with student loan debt. It's a spending situation. Congress has to deal with that. So because of the way that the Constitution is written and giving these people this power, that's why Gavin Newsom is like, okay, we're going to get it in law, put it in the Constitution, do it, because we have the Senate and the House in California. So they're like, correct. What you said is correct. What they need to do is, hey, we need to get our people in the House and the Senate so we can make these laws. So we don't have to worry about them just being a precedent, a Supreme Court. Because what happened was you have people who were politically appointed who used their religious beliefs to overturn a precedent, which is not the way that the Constitution was designed. Also, the Constitution was designed in 1776. And there was no limits on justices. We all know, because they were all dying, because they were probably all getting venereal diseases at like 50. So now, like Quincy said, the racism is living on, and they'll probably live to be 125. Who knows? So because that wasn't in the Constitution, but certain things weren't in the Constitution, but a workaround that is to get it written into laws. But how do we get it written into laws? We need the class, Senate, and the House. So that's why midterms are important.
This has changed, because you're correcting everything, but like Dame said, and what bothers me the most is that people didn't understand the significance of the 2016 election. I know folks be over exaggerating, but this is generation that was, and this is why. Because they say everything Chandra said happens. You get the Senate, you get the House, they make it law, but guess who could overturn it?
Supreme Court. The
Supreme Court. That's why now it's beyond that. You have to not only elect people who's going to pass the law, but also elect people who is open to expanding the court. Because the reason why they had 9 Supreme Courts, because back then the circuit was 9. Now the circuit is 13, so it should be 13 justices.
Expand to 13.
Yep. So you don't only just listen to people who are 2 things. They're willing to get rid of the filibuster to pass laws, and they also willing to expand the court. Because now, like I said, these motherfuckers are not dying no time soon. See, Justice Roberts used to kind of be like, he was like a moderate Republican. So he used to be the deciding vote. That's why a couple of things didn't really happen when they wanted it to, because every now and then he would vote with the Democrats. But they have such a huge majority, it passed 5-4. That means even when he voted with the liberals on the court, they still have 5 to get it passed. So now you're at a point to where you have to expand the court, because even if you have the House and you have the Senate, you got a Supreme Court that's going to overturn that shit, because you got that what was Samuel Jackson's name on Django?
Stephen.
You got Clarence Stevens up there and he wants blood. He's a bitter old, I won't even say black because he ain't that bastard. And at this point, like I said, it's going to take extreme measures because right now you could, and for folks, if you wonder, it's the Senate. The Senate is the one that can expand the court. The president nominate the justices. The Senate could open those seats up, and it's also the Senate. It's the Senate with the filibusters. So you're looking for senators who are for getting rid of the filibuster and for expanding the court. But that's what we up again at this point. And right now, I think anything goes because I'm even willing, and I love Kamala. But if Gavin got to do what he got to do, then it's what it is.
Yeah.
And I think she's more than capable of being president. But right now, I'm liking Gavin Toon a lot more as president than I like Kamala's. And I like Gavin's attitude because this is what Gavin didn't figure it out. That Biden and rest haven't figured out. Gavin figured out is like 80% of the people in my country fucks with me. You 20%, you can either join us or you can stay out there because I know my shit is so good. Some of y'all gonna come over here anyway and benefit off the shit I'm doing. But I'm not gonna cower down to the 20%. I'm gonna do it this way. And if y'all got you guys want to come over here and fuck with what I'm doing, then that's cool. If not, that's cool because the majority already fucking with me.
Exactly.
She said yesterday that Joe Biden was running and she was gonna be his running mate.
That's fine. If they ain't for what need to be done, and if Gavin Newsom won,
yeah,
then they need because I'm telling you, a lot of people, Gavin, if you look at Twitter, Gavin real popular in other places.
He's real popular, but I don't know. He got another term here.
Yeah, I'm like don't let him leave here.
Well, I've been saying I didn't want him to run for president until he's
get
done.
those laws down first. You got 6 years of laws to get it done, and then you can go run for president.
Yeah, because you know, really, Kamala should be next in line after Biden because I think Biden gonna die in office.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I think.
Well, I don't know if he doesn't qualify as an old white racist, so he have a couple years shorter on his belt.
Yeah.
He's just a regular old white man.
But I think that he has to meet the moment, man. And this moment, you can't. Because and I know he knows. This is how I know he knows because I watched his speech when he came to Long Beach 2-3 weeks ago, and he said, "Hey, this is not your father Republican Party." So he knows.
He said it, but it's like, what are you? Okay, so now what are you doing?
Yeah, because why are you still operating like it is talking about? I know we can work together. Because I don't want to hear him no more talking about that we need to work together, boy, bro.
But you know, I think that's what the downfall of having someone with so much experience. He remembers when they could reach across the aisle, when they could go talk to the senators and have lunch, when they were friends. Like he considers Mitch McConnell his friend. Mitch McConnell considers him his friend, or Lindsey Graham, whichever one. I can't remember which one.
But no, he could on Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham talked about his son.
Okay, so it's Mitch McConnell. So he remembers that. So he's so like stuck in that. I don't think he even knows. But he needs somebody to tell him, like, Joe, look, you need to come on.
No. Like every few, 50, 60 years it changes. Shit changes, and we at one of them crossroads, man. Where we saw the 1960s. Although Lyndon Johnson had the Senate with 68 votes. He knew he had some bigots, so he started hitting motherfuckers up in the bathroom.
Yeah,
like he had to threaten a couple of people, and so we at one of those moments because what these motherfuckers have done. They said, okay, cool. Who are these Republicans who didn't fuck with Trump? You gone. So this time when Trump asked for 11,000 votes, there's people in place that's gonna find them. And so motherfuckers got to meet the moment. But hey, every election, well, from this point on, y'all, it counts. And I mean for the rest of your life, because with this Supreme Court, like I said, them motherfuckers are late 40s, early 50s. Clarence, hopefully Clarence don't got too much longer. Because I ain't gonna lie, when I heard he had COVID, I was like, ah! I ain't gonna lie, I'm there with it. I'm there with it, man. I'm there with it because it's sad. I don't understand. Look, I've been going back and forth with my uncle, and I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm not ashamed to say it, whatever. But one thing I don't hold people to, and I feel if this is truly a democracy, which we know it's not, you cannot hold people to your religious beliefs. Yep. And like I told my uncle, I said, so that's cool. He's like, the Bible doesn't change, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, the Bible ain't the Constitution. I said, but if all Muslims become part of the Supreme Court, the majority, whatever, are you willing to be ruled by the Quran? Because if your answer is no, you're a hypocrite.
Yeah. But that's the thing. They know they're hypocrites. They don't care. They know they're hypocrites. They don't care.
And I'm about to say this, and folks don't like it because I said, and this is why people have turned away from Christianity, because it's this type of hypocrisy that folks do. I mean, it's a shame to there's no. I'm sorry, with all the Lord that's in me, think that anybody should be forced to co-parent with they rapists.
Yeah.
That got to be the most.
That's correct.
I mean, what type of evil shit is that? I mean, like, cause and people posted the article. I was just giving just basically saying that, these rapists have parental rights. The average sentence for rape is between 4 and 19 years. So if a rapist get 10 to 12 years and he get out of prison and his child is 12 to 10 years old, he have parental rights.
Yep. You're saying that the scenario is possible.
Yeah.
And it's really happening.
It's really happening. A girl, her rapist, fought for custody, and now she paying her rapist child support.
Jesus Christ.
And what's going on? People gonna start getting popped.
Yeah. Yes. Somebody got to go.
The problem is, of course, when the Constitution was written, of course, all these things weren't in the Constitution. Of course, they weren't. It was 1776. It was almost 300 years ago. So for people to say, oh, this wasn't in the Constitution or this wasn't provisioned or whatever, our privacy rights are provisioned. We have rights to due process. We have all those things that fall under those rights. And yes, there's a bunch of scenarios. There's medical issues scenarios. There's all kinds of things. But the bottom line is, it's nobody's business but you and the person who's medically helping you make this decision.
You just click because I know we on Roe v. Wade. I hope y'all understand the Supreme Court passed. The police do not have to tell you your Miranda rights.
Yeah. Hey man, when assassination's coming back in style?
I ain't gonna say.
Let's go.
My bad.
Time to go.
Yeah. So basically, because I was having this conversation with somebody and they think it's sooner than later. Here's the thing. You are because now, so before, if you got the right to remain silent, anything you say, blah, 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 blah. If that's not read to you and you just start talking, then what you said can't be used
in court
against you, and you can actually sue. Now you can't sue. So educate your kids, your uncles, everybody know you're right. Look, it's two major ones that I don't know why niggas don't use, but it's one that niggas need to use and they don't use. The right to remain silent.
And a right to an attorney.
And a right to an attorney. If you know those two.
If you ain't learned shit from First 48.
Look, if you ain't learned a damn thing
From first 48.
The right to remain silent and a right to an attorney.
Don't let them get you that little burger. Try to get you, nigga. These niggas done sung for a burger.
Give you a soda and a burger. All of a sudden, you confess.
Man, hey, no, the one video I posted, the officer walks up, haven't said a word, and the dude is, I punched him in the face, blah 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 blah, and he get this whole little deal. What happened? And the officer was like, "We're not even here for you.
We're not even here for you."
And I can't tell y'all how many times I experienced that. People like, hey, officer, man, I got some weed on me, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I didn't even come see you, bro.
I'm not even feeling guilty, you know.
like I didn't come for you. But understand this, know your rights. I'm telling you, you got to be more self-sufficient about knowing your civics and your rights more than anything. See, that got swept under the rug last week because of all the Roe v. Wade.
Yeah,
but that definitely impacts Black people.
Yeah.
Know your rights.
I don't think I really need to, beat a dead horse with Roe v. Wade. I think most people kind of, whether or not you're pro-choice, pro-life, whatever, most people are pro. It's your business. That's most people with common sense. It's pro. It's your business. Whatever you do, you do. I don't. The thing about it is. Another thing that they're okay, I'll just give my personal. When I first heard his whole little spiel, what he was trying to do, they were trying to take away contraception. They were trying to take away welfare. They're trying to take away basically anything that has to do with parental rights, finding out about birth control, all those things, anything. So from the time I don't want to get pregnant to the time something happens and I do get pregnant because I didn't have access to information or contraception or whatever, till after I can't get no help, whatever the case may be. So I decided, I don't know what's going on with them, but I'm about to take matters into my own personal hands. We have to keep ourselves educated about our bodies. We have to keep ourselves educated about what's available to us. We have to keep ourselves educated about what's going on, with our medical rights, history, all that stuff. We have to be our own advocates, because if something happens, God forbid, some type of medical issue or whatever the case may be, you have to be the one to advocate for yourself. Thank God we live in California where, but even what's the main issue? Women who just are poor. Women. I saw this thing that said some companies insurance cover abortions. So another list of companies that were covering travel to states who have access, which is really sad. It's like, can this be a medical? It's a medical decision for whatever reason, and that's why we have to take control of our own bodies. We have to make sure that we're doing what we have to do, so we're not putting in a situation where we don't want to be in. Now, of course, things happen, of course. It doesn't.
Niggas gonna shoot up the club.
They're going to. But you also have to make sure you know your options, all those things. You not having 35 methods of birth control and still accidentally getting pregnant. I'm not rolling with those videos that be like, oh, he came out holding my IUD and a condom in his other hand.
Right.
Y'all got drunk. Okay. It was a Henny night. Relax.
Yep.
But that's what I'm saying. There's that percentage, but whatever you have to do to make happen what you want to happen, whether or not it's planning when you want to, whatever. Like I said, it does happen, but it's very rare. It's not as often as people are saying. Okay. And I don't think that's the case. I think that it's just about telling people, legislating morality, just like with anything else. That's why they won't do anything about gun control, because they're immoral.
And Portia, you are correct, 100% correct. They don't. It's not about nothing but that. Like at the end of the day.
I don't believe that either, because actually, Planned Parenthood put out a study that it's more white women that have abortions, and that are getting pregnant less. So if you're telling people have more babies, but people are actually not getting pregnant, and they're the ones that are going to have access to abortions. They're still going to be the ones to be able to. They're the ones who most likely have jobs and money and insurance to go and do whatever that they want to do. So even if they are trying to force people to have more white babies, it ain't gonna happen if the white women don't want it, unless they want a whole bunch of little meth babies running around.
I mean, we know that, but that's also still the reason that they're doing it. You know what I mean? Like, even though it's because what's gonna happen is, if you do make more babies, all you making is more mixed babies. One, for the most part, and like you said, and it's gonna be more black and brown babies.
Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't make it at this point. It doesn't make any sense. But I've always been an advocate for and I know people disagree with this, and I really don't care. But I'm the one with the ovaries and the fallopian tubes, and I'm the one that's in charge of them. So I'm going to control what's happening to them. So if it's a 50-50 world, it's 51-49 in my book. And this was before Roe versus Wade.
Well, it's gonna be interesting when these senators' side pieces start getting pregnant and they can't get abortions no more.
But they are, though. That's the thing.
Because they got the money. They got the money and access.
They got them. They still are. So that's what I'm saying. If it's about white people, then it ain't gonna matter, because they're gonna do what they want to do, because they're the ones that have the money. This is just about power, rule. We can do whatever we want to do. We're gonna take every single, like Clarence Thomas is like, okay, next let's see what we can do about gay rights, and let's see what we can do about contraception. Just because. I want some fajitas.
And on that note, we gonna get out of here.
I just smell like an onion, bell pepper, like
combination
in my head.
Hit your nose that right way.
But anyway, yeah, that's it.
But I thank you for your wine-induced rant. It was much needed, much appreciated. Much appreciated.
I was thirsty. I couldn't find the water.
I love that excuse.
Yeah. Oh, he's not gonna do nothing, because they're not going to. Yeah. We're just hoping that what we talked about earlier happens sooner than later.
Black baby's going up. Uncouth Radio, we will see you next time. We want to thank everybody for joining us. Hey, we're gonna be back soon. We want to thank everybody in the comments. Yeah. And also just know, because I know we used to just only do Wednesdays. We probably gonna be changing times around sometimes whenever we can get on, because all of our schedules have changed immensely. Our schedules are crazy. So now we're going to try to get on when we all are available. So you're going to see more from us coming. It'll be different days just like this, and different times. Just whenever you catch us on, rock with us, because, life happens, man. But, hey, to my black, my black sisters, y'all don't got to hold this L. This ain't y'all L. This ain't y'all L to hold. All right?
Hey, it never is, man.
It never is.
Except for that McDonald's girl. That was an L for us.
But they still, hey, look, and they still gonna try to depend on y'all to fix it. Guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Guaranteed they're gonna depend on y'all to fix. So hey, don't hold that L for them. You know what I'm saying? What happened? Oh, we had a couple more comments.
Okay.
Well, yeah, thank y'all. Like I said, we'll see y'all next time. This was fun. Good to have you back, Chan. I don't have to start rumors about you. Until next time.